All right, welcome back to Citizens Forum with Jude Geoman. Of course, my guest today on Citizens Forum is Dr. Agoso Bamaiyi. He is a counselor, a life coach, a motivator, a writer, a publisher, a social entrepreneur. He is, of course, a current affairs analyst and socio-political analyst. My good friends like to call him a development strategist. Too many feathers on this cap, Babana.
Thank you very much, Jude. I'm truly happy to be here with you today.
All right, so glad to be here with you. You know, it really caught my attention yesterday that the first time you were on this program, Adamawa was in the eye of the nation. And so everybody was wondering, who is Binani? Who is Hudu Ari? Who are all these characters? You know, but then within the week, we also saw that the Supreme Court has affirmed the victory of the governor of Adamawa State. And this is, first of all, to say congratulations to you, to the people of your state, and also to say there is ongoing by-election today. One of the states is also Adamawa State. And so just tell us the mood of the state today before we go into full conversation.
Yeah, for those of us who want to see governance and really wish to see see democracy dividends come to the citizens of Nigeria, we're truly happy that the tug of war between Ahmadu Fintri and Binani is over, and so he can settle down to govern and continue to deliver democracy dividends to the state. As concerning the by-election, the state is quiet. People are going about their businesses, and the people who the by-election affects are excited, and they have come out to the voting has started. Hopefully everything will go on fine, and we should get the results in a day or two.
All right, that's a beautiful one. Okay, let's come to our conversation for today, which is state police. You know, I've really taken time within the week to look at all of the news coming up from different papers and all. And one thing I come to the conclusion is this, and that is we are now ripe to have this conversation around state police. Let's begin the conversation around state police. There was a time when people will say, well, the reason why our leaders have not risen up to handle insecurity is that it has gotten to Abuja. And that once it gets to Abuja, they are going to deal with this. Well, voila, here we are in Abuja, and we see how they have handled it. What is your take on state police? Within the week, we also saw our brother from Delta State, Senator Ned Nwoko, also say, well, it is time for every Nigerian to bear arms. What is your take on state police?
Well, the problem that we have in Nigeria, the insecurity problem in Nigeria, it has gotten out of hand. It's actually a runaway horse. And except we take drastic actions, we take actions that are out of the box. We've been thinking within the box for too long about security in Nigeria. It's going to only get worse. And where there is no security, but there won't be good governance, and people will not, we won't have the development and the growth that is necessary. So I think that it is the right time, like you said, that we begin to consider the pros and the cons of state police. You see, the situation is that it appears that the Nigerian police that is governed centrally from the federal government.
Yes.
And it's a constitutional matter, because the constitution of Nigeria allows for only the federal government to run a police. The police is overwhelmed right now with security problems everywhere, almost every state. You know, some states are blown up more than others, but almost every state has security problems.
Yes.
And so you have accusations where in some states. The people are saying that the police is not responding. There's an unwillingness of the security agency to take criminal gangs on, but they are not well equipped, and the gangs are better equipped than them. You have accusations where people are saying that the governor will give an order and the police will not obey, saying that they take orders only from the federal government. And yet the governors are bearing a heavy burden of taking care of these security agencies. Their allowances, their logistics, etc., is borne by governors, and yet they take orders from Abuja, not from the governors.
Yeah.
So time has come that we begin to look at this. Do we allow the states to create police forces for themselves? And if we allow them, what are the conditions? How will they operate? And then, of course, it will take a constitutional review for that to really happen. There are countries where it's the states that run police, like the United States of America. Yeah. But it has a federal structure, the FBI, that deals with federal crimes and issues that have to do with the federal government. We operate that kind of system here in Nigeria. And then if we're to operate that kind of system here in Nigeria, are the states strong enough financially to run standard police organizations, not ragtag police organizations, but standard, well-equipped police organizations? So those are some of the things that we're looking at, and those are some of the things that I guess we will talk about today. But like you said, the time is right. It's time to begin to look at this, and a decision should be taken about this not long from now.
All right. You know, I like the fact that you also agreed. I wish I had this conversation. Now, let us take this conversation this way, because if we do not confront our fears head on, we are going nowhere. I mean, for families to be asked to pay 30 million naira ransom, 100 million naira ransom across Nigeria, then we really need to start having a conversation as to what can we afford and what can't we afford. Right. Now, you mentioned America, for instance. And when you look at America, and you look at it's a federal country. And when you look at our constitution, I think section 214, that like you said, makes it mandatory that only the federal government will run the police force. But then when you look at other federations, because we are Federal Republic of Nigeria, all right, when you look at other federations, about 25 of them, none of them runs a federal police system, a unitary police system like we are doing in Nigeria. In some, you find about 30. In America, you find about 18,000, you know, because they go down to counties, and like our local governments, having their own police outfit that deals with security in that county. Now, the question I'm going to ask you is this, and I find this question quite interesting. There was a time in Nigeria when the whole talk in the media was, you see, we are ready to have state police. And it was almost as if every governor in the South, when I say South, I mean Southeast, Southwest, South, right? It was almost as if you listen to commentators, they said the problem is the North. That the Northerners are in power, and the Northerners do not want any conversation around state police because they want to run the entire country from Abuja. Now, today you find, I mean, the ACN was one of the biggest promoters of not only devolution of powers, but the mantra called restructuring Nigeria, and of course, state policing. Now, today, these guys are in power. I can't find anybody who will tell me today that the North is in power. And today, there seems to be no conversation around restructuring. There seems to be no conversation around state policing. The question I'm going to ask you are in two laps. The first one is, you are from the North. You're a Northerner. You're a Nigerian from Northern Nigeria. Is it true? And why is it that Northern Nigeria have always kicked against state policing? That is one. And then the second one is, if you want to advocate for state policing, can you really paint a picture as to how you want to see this structured, how you want to see it run in Nigeria?
Well, the federation in Nigeria is an abnormal federation. It's not, we say we're federal, but in practice we're really not federal.
Okay.
The federal government has given exclusive powers to itself over so many things that, and the way I like to describe it is that the federal government has bitten more than it can chew. The mouth is so full that it cannot really chew it. It's taken over the powers of the state government, local governments, and everything is concentrated in the center. It's made the center so powerful, and as a result, people fight to make sure that they control the center. Yeah. And And that's why when the North is in the center, it does not listen to anybody or anything that it feels will reduce its power. And that brings me to what you were asking. We now have people from the Southwest in power, but why are they not talking about federal structure, restructuring? Again, is that power. Once you enter in there, you become so powerful that you don't want anybody to touch it. You know, but if we're to have peace and have continuous development and allow Nigeria as a federation to rise up to its potential and develop the way it ought to develop, and then we should restructure Nigeria. That's I'm a northerner, but I understand the issues, and I'm using my head. I'm not talking with my emotions. I'm using my head. My head tells me that if we are to truly structure this country and devolve a lot of the powers that are in the hands of the federal government to the states like they should naturally be, then we would speed up development, because there will be genuine competition between the states, and states will specialize in their areas of strength and power. And that way, Lagos is developing this way, Kano is developing that other way, and collectively we develop the country instead of trying to force development in a unitary way, and it's not happening. It's really not natural. And one of the things that should be devolved to the states is the police force. We should have the federating units have their police force. Of course, it should be structured in such a way that the federal government will still have supervisory powers over whatever police force is developed in the states.
All right.
And of course, it should also be in such a way that certain aspects of policing will be left in the hands of the federal government. For instance, we have a federal territory that should still remain within the hands of the federal government.
All right.
Then, of course, the federal government should look after major entries into the country, international airports, international seaports, international land borders. Land borders, very, very important. Our borders are so porous that it is actually encouraging criminality, trans-border criminality, what we call international crime. It's very easy to move in from Chad or from Niger or from any of these countries into Nigeria, commit crimes, and run back across the border and be free. So the federal government should remain in charge of that. And of course, the federal government should have a mobile police force, a strong mobile police force that it can position in important and strategic places across the country to keep an eye on the way things are going on without interfering with the operations of the state police. And then, of course, there would be federal crimes that we should have the federal government through its federal police force. Right. In the United States, it's called FBI. Whatever we call it here, it should be responsible for investigation of federal crimes, and enforcement of federal laws across the state. And it will take cooperation between that body and state governments. For instance, during general elections, they should be able to work together to make sure that the elections go free. But where you have state elections, just state elections, then the state police in that situation should handle it. The thing with the state police is that it will be drawn from indigents and citizens of that state.
Right.
They know the state, they understand the atmosphere, they speak the languages, they know the temperament of the people. It makes it easier for them to gather intelligence. The people will trust them more. Normally, the people will trust them more and be willing to give them information. And so crime prevention would be a lot easier than what we have right now, where in my state, and you find this, it's true with many states across the country, the locals do not trust the federal police, because you give them information and they don't take action. It seems like somebody is interested in the crime, in Abuja, and is preventing the police from acting. You have that accusation going on. And so it's gotten to a point where people don't even report to the police anymore, whatever intelligence they have, because they feel like if you do that, the police will give the criminals information, they will come back and victimize you, or the police will not take action. But if the police personnel are local people, they would tend to understand these things, they will get information a lot easier, then the people will trust them a lot easier. So, and that's the understanding, and that's the angle from which we're pushing for local police. It will help in stemming the situation in Nigeria now is that people move from one state to another state and commit crimes and run out of that state without anybody detecting it, because the police structure is such that before they take action, the criminals have had time to escape. But if you have a state police, it will be difficult for criminals to come from one state into another state and commit crimes and run away. They will dictate it and be able to stop it or arrest the criminals. So eventually, it will be the best thing to do, and that's the way I look at it. But experts will have to come together and talk more around these issues. But there has to be the political will to begin to go in that direction.
All right.
The federal government should not feel like its powers are being taken away from it. It has too much power. The powers are so much that it's not effective at all. It's better to have a little power and be very effective than to have the kind of power our federal government has and it's not being effective at all.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on state policing. I really thank you for also, giving us a feel of what's going on in Adamawa State, and our regards to Binani too.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Of course, my guest today on Citizens Forum has been Dr. Bamaiyi Agoso. He's a current affairs analyst and social and political analyst too. And of course, he is a development strategist, and taking time out all the way from Adamawa State to not only give us a feel of what's going on there and the victory of the governor, the Supreme Court, talked about the feelers in the state, and finally offered us his ideas about state police. That's what we'll be talking about today on Citizens Forum. Do you really think we are ready for state police? There has been lots of fears raised about how governors might abuse these powers. There has been lots of fears raised that a governor who funds and controls a state police outfit, can you vote this governor out of power? People have talked about that. But there is also a balanced question some people also do ask, and that is, as it is right now, when people control the federal police, aren't they abusing it as it is today? Are there no cases of abuse, not only in the police, but every other armed force in the country? The numbers to call today to be a part of Citizens Forum still remain same, and that is 09039195402. Of course, you call into Citizens Forum. Hello. Yeah. Welcome to the program. All right. Yeah. All right. Welcome to the program, sir.
Yes. I want to thank you for bringing our northern counterpart all the way from Adamawa.
Yes.
One thing with Adamawa, is the home state of Abubakar.
True.
I think it will not go well if we lose that state. Yes, contested to the president of Nigeria. I'm not saying that it should be crook or by anyone, but it should be a clean game. But my worry is the INEC rep or whatever that declare the woman. Now, where is he? And how far is the case?
I have not asked the police. I think I need to ask them.
I will have asked our brother from that angle.
He wouldn't know. He wouldn't know.
And then, what he said is the right thing. If the governor of a state can fund police, fund their gadgets, give them motors, everything, what more is left when you talk about state policing? And when the governor gets order, they will not take the governor until they got taken out from Abuja. The sense everyone is running to. So state police is, in fact, very important. Let me ask you, the CP of Plateau State says a neighbor man. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
The CP of Plateau State is a neighbor man. What is he doing there? Does he understand the terrain in Plateau State? Does he understand the nitty-gritty? This place. Even if it's in theory, not in practical.
Yeah.
If it is I'm surprised that I find it funny. I noticed you shouting, but nobody's talking about restructuring. Because these are part of things that will make security.
Yeah.
Look, if as I'm in Onitsha, an ordinary citizen, I knew every corner, flashpoint. Are you getting it?
Yes.
If I'm a security personnel, is it not an advantage?
Definitely is.
So if we can be careful, let's say as an answer Onitsha, now are you getting it? Because when you look above there, there's a street floor. Now so much like I call on ordinary civilians. But they won't know if a police, an officer of the law, son of the soil. We will know where is we know where is the market.
All right.
And marine. So
yes.
I'm seriously advocating for state police.
All right.
Nobody should say that the state government will hijack it. Not mind what the state government is saying, they can't fund it. Yes, they can fund it for those who are doing things that is very, very heartbreaking and spending millions on them. So to fund original police that can guide the people. We say they can't afford the state police. But it's high time. If you want to become anything in governance, you come and tell us what they're going to do security-wise. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Of course, I wouldn't expect much from somebody who says, or a group of people who say they can't afford 30,000 naira minimum wage. Anybody who can't, as governor, definitely cannot afford to do anything else. Hello.
Good morning to you, Jude Geoman.
Yes, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. You know, reaching us all the way from London this morning.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, my very good friend, DJ. I thought your second question was going to be, why are the Northern allies kicking against the restructuring of Nigeria? Knowing fully well that every reasonable Nigeria believes and understands that the North always kick against restructuring. It would have been better if you asked him. I thought that was going to be the second question. Now, DJ Geoman.
You definitely we are not listening. You definitely we are not listening. If you were listening, it was maybe you listened and you heard what you wanted to hear. My question was very simple and it remains very simple. When the North were in power, they were against it and everybody said they were against it because it was the North in power. Today, the South is in power. The South is also kicking against it or not saying anything about it. Those who screamed that was the only solution are silent today. So I don't play the game of picking and choosing who I hold accountable. I hold everybody accountable. Go ahead.
I thought you were talking about state police. That's what your first question was on state police. Then the second should have been, why are they not restructuring?
All right. Thank you very much. You seem to be holding me accountable for my questions, but clearly you did not hear me. My question was very clear. The North was in power. The North never restructured. The North never agreed to state police. Today we have the South in power. And the same thing. I don't play the game of picking who I hold accountable. I hold everybody accountable. Hello.
Hello. Good morning, Geoman.
Yeah, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
I totally agree with Dr. Bamaiyi. All he said is nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. The country, we are overdue for state police. The burden is much on federal. So without that, this country will not be active. The number of police we are having in this country, federal police, they are not able to guide Nigeria. Because most of the federal police, they are taking over, the senators, the council, the governors, and they are taking over. So that's very few. So what we need in this country, state police, was to move forward. And those formally went forward, we are clamoring for restructuring, shouting everybody, southwest, southeast, restructuring, but it remains silent now. And without the restructuring of this country, we are going nowhere. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for calling into the program. All right, our Still Citizens Forum 090-3919-5402 and 090-218-77-307. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon to
yes.
Geoman.
Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Deacon, I'm calling you from Onitsha.
All right.
Someone asked a question. Is there anything in Afro that one can be saying something else? The moment he or she goes in there, you get to say,
begin to say that people should be patient with banks, that banks will fix Nigeria, blah, 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 blah. You now ask yourself a question. You just go down a little bit more down the lane from, all these past presidents. You see them, they will promise restructuring, state police, they will fix the country. The moment he claims that power, the next thing is to zoom off to France or to UK or to US, just a country that is so friendly to him or her. So I'm beginning to think towards that direction. Maybe there are some big, you call them demons that are changing their mind there, or they lack the political will, or they are not competent enough. But I'm seeing that it's like there are some demons. That the moment they get in there, the thing will overwhelm them. And they will just be looking and Nigerians will be impoverished. That's just the angle I'm seeing it. So if anybody wants to, canvass for that seat, wants to become a president, if you know that you cannot be able to handle that particular prestigious position and feed the country and, provide, security, which is the topmost priority of the government, then find something else to do. There are a lot of professions in the world.
All right.
You can engage in.
My producer seemed to want me time.
Yes, because of time. I understand. Because of time, let me stand by. Thank you, Geoman.
All right. Thank you, and thank you for understanding. Of course, Citizens Forum, thank you for making this happen. I think I really go with the opinion of my guest today on Citizens Forum, where he talked about, he didn't call it greed and all of that. But we have a situation where people say all the things that the administration is not doing. But then when they get into power, and he gave an example with what we're talking about, state police. He said what happens to Nigeria is when people sit on that seat, then they don't want any of the power to leave them. When they are not on that seat, they ask for restructuring, they ask for state police, they ask for resource control and all of that. Now, when they get into power, they too differently. But how can we pretend we don't also know that this is not just an Aso Rock thing? Our state governors, how many of them want free and fair elections to hold in the local government? So people decide who govern them at the local government. How many of our governors allow for the resources of this local government to be used in this local government? We still have state governors wanting us to clap for them for doing something as little as going to commission a 2-block classroom. That's the job of a local government. Or patch the roads, for instance. That's the job of the local government. So it's not new. It's not strange. We have a problem with accountability. We have a problem with people doing exactly what they say they will do. As far as it has to do with the North and the South dichotomy, we should get wiser at this point in Nigeria and know that it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There is just an elite group in Nigeria who, when they find themselves in power, want to grab everything they can grab and then pretend they speak for their region. Nobody speaks for the North. Nobody speaks for the East. Nobody speaks for the South. We should get that and judge people by what they do and not where they come from. All right, of course, I will continue to do that on Citizens Forum. My name remains Jude Geoman. Have a blessed day ahead.